Oh.
Hello, friend. Listen, it is amazing to see you. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I just want to encourage you that today's going to be fantastic. I'm excited. I hope that you guys are ready to get going, but I want to talk today about what it is that's holding you back. I want you to stop and think about it. There's one tiny secret that is robbing you of your dream time in that RV. And so I just want to encourage you that you have the opportunity to do something that you've never done before. Sorry, I'm pushing some buttons around here, and I'm going to get some things going. But listen, it's so good to see you guys here. So as you look at your life, you're going to realize that you've got responsibilities that have kept you from living the life to its fullest. They've kept you from jumping out the way that you've dreamed, and now they are robbing you of what the Bible would say is your abundant life that you've always pictured for yourself. And I hate to say the word responsibility is kind of your enemy here, but I think we take that word and we elevate the status of that word sometimes to a place that it doesn't belong. Today, what we're going to talk about is how to go through 3 different questions that are going to help you organize your thoughts and get to the root of some of the issues that are blocking you from living your dream life, whether that life is in an RV or whether that life is a different job or some kind of a relationship thing, or I don't know what that thing is blocking you, but I'm telling you, it's out there. If it's figuring out your finances, discovering the right RV, what if I told you that those issues that you need to overcome in order to live on the road or to live that dream life weren't the ones you're thinking they are? It's not the ones you're thinking they are. The answers that you get are only as good as the questions that you ask. Today, I'm going to give you 3 questions that I want you to use to help you come to the root of what it is that you're trying to do. Okay? So, do me a favor. Right now, I want you to type and tell me, give me one of those things that is keeping you from living that dream, whether it's getting in an RV or just doing something different. What is one of the responsibilities that's blocking you from doing that? Tell me that down below. I want to see it. Even if you're watching on the replay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to check it out and I want to respond to you. I just want to hear what it is that's keeping you from living that dream. So I'm also going to be sharing the notes from this. So later on, if you type in the word questions down below, then I'll send you the notes as soon as those notes are ready, and make sure that you've got those so that you can check it out later and go through those questions again. If we haven't met yet, my name's Jim Miller. As an RV consultant, I help families find a clear path to smoothly transition their lives into the RV that is perfect for their family so they can live the dream they never thought possible, whether it's for 14 days or 14 years or 14 months, whatever it is, however long you want to do it. So I do this through my signature MAPS method. I walk clients through all of the steps that they need in order to take their next adventure. So now I'm used to speaking to people, not used to speaking in front of a camera. So I'm used to some feedback. So if you would do me a favor, it would be a huge compliment to me and a favor if you would type in some feedback and just let me know what's going on. And just tell me when something that I say resonates with you. So you're struggling right now to figure out how to get out and how to live your life on the road, what it is that you're going to do. You're struggling to be able to take that step of living that dream and knowing what it is that you need to do to experience that next thing. And so today I'm going to give you 3 questions. Let's work through these 3 questions and let's talk about what it is that you are supposed to be doing. So, first off, the very first thing I need you to think about is I need you to ultimately define what your goal is. Okay. Now, we've done a lot about goals. We've done a lot about. We've talked a lot about good goals. We've talked a lot about bad goals. And I'm posting in the comments a video that I did a while back about um, that I hope would help you to walk through it. And I think ultimately one of the big issues is that we have taken our dreams and our goals and we've confined those down and we've almost put handcuffs on them. So the dreams and goals that we've allowed ourselves to envision are not really ultimately where our heart leaps to, but the dreams and goals that we have allowed ourselves to walk out are ones that fit the narrative of what we're living inside of. They fit inside of the box and they're comfortable. And one of the great things about a comfortable goal is that you can hit that goal and feel great about yourself without really applying much effort. And that you can hit that goal and you could feel like you did something good. And maybe it is a good thing. I'm not saying that goals are bad. Certainly don't hear me wrong. And I'm not saying that just because you reached your goal, you weren't really doing anything good. I'm certainly not trying to say that either. But I think that we've taken a habit of applying goals that are easy for us. We've applied goals that are easy for us. And so I'm gonna throw out an idea that was something that Amy and I went through a long time ago, and it's called something called a stretch goal. And I want you to think about a stretch goal and what a stretch goal looks like for you. So a stretch goal is if you take the thing that you're trying to do, like a goal of retiring in 30 years might be a goal, but a stretch goal would be to retire in 10 years, right? A goal might be to have the house of your dreams, to start shopping for the house of your dreams in 5 years. A stretch goal would be to do it next year. A stretch goal, if you were in business and you planned on adding on 30 clients in the next year, in 2021, a stretch goal would be to say that you want to do 1,000 clients. And when you start to dream in ridiculous numbers, when you start to dream in ways that say to you that look impossible at first blush, it causes and forces you to think in a different way. So if you want to say that I want to be able to travel in an RV when we retire, but what if I said to you instead that you should be able to travel in an RV in 3 months? You should be full-time in an RV in 3 months. Or if you had thought, maybe 6 months down the road, I want to do that. And I said, well, what if I said to you that next week you're going to buy an RV and that next week you are going to put your house on the market? That's the stretch. Okay. And so I want you to take these things that are uncomfortable and I want you to start to look at how it is that these can be done. Because in looking at it in a different way, it forces you to get outside of the box of where you're living right now and try to find a different solution. You've been trying to find solutions by saying, well, I'm saving 10% every paycheck. And that's a great thing, right? Saving that 10% every paycheck and putting it where it does something is good. But what if I said to you, why don't you try to save 80% instead? Or what if I said to you, why don't you try to, instead of investing that in something that grows at 3%, I want you to find something that grows at 100%. Now you're starting to think a little differently. And the reason I say these things is not because it's impossible, but because it's possible. That there are solutions that are out there if you're willing to look and get uncomfortable in doing it. So first off, what's your goal? I want you to think about what is your goal. If you want to travel, if you want to go live in an RV, if you want to live full-time in an RV, if you want to homeschool your kids, if you want to have your own business, if you want to do these things, figure out your goal and write it down. Okay? Figure out that goal, write it down, say, this is my goal. And then I want you to go take it and I want you to put it out there and start to tell people about your goal. A goal in your brain is great, but a goal that's out there in public is now an accountability partner, right? And I want you to throw out this goal that you have of doing something completely off the wall, completely out of the ordinary, and start to move in the process of getting there. Now, next, so you've got this goal, and now the next thing for you to think about is what's keeping you from your goal. What are the things, what are the hurdles, what are the challenges, what are the What are the things that are blocking you from being able to achieve this goal and live the dream? So this is the way the conversation goes a lot, and it may be similar to this in your head, right? Uh, and and I think Amy nails it here, right? She says it is scary to step out of your comfort zone. It is scary to step out of your comfort zone. Amy, truth. That is truth. It is scary to step out of your comfort zone. And so when you create this goal and it's outside of your comfort zone and it's uncomfortable for you, know that that's not a bad thing. Just know that that is not a bad thing. So what's keeping you from your goal? There are certain hurdles that are keeping you from your goal. And I just want you to write those down. Let's be super honest about them too, right? Sometimes you would say, well, it's finances. Sometimes you would say it's time. A lot of people for years said, well, my kids are in school. And guess what just got knocked down for all of those people? Now their kids are virtual. I just had a conversation with somebody whose kids are virtual learning, and they wanted to wait to get an RV until their kids were gone and in college and moved out of the house. But now they're like, wait a minute, wait a minute. The kids are out. They're out doing their thing right now. And so there's virtual learning that's happening with your kids. And so do you see how quickly some of these things just get knocked out really quickly and easily? And maybe your job was in an office, but now you've transitioned and you're working remotely. Do you see how quickly that got knocked down? And before you would have said, I can't leave because I have a job I've got to go to every day. And now a couple things happen and you're working virtually. And before, you might have been able to work that out with your boss. You might not have been able to work it out with your boss. Maybe your question is this. Maybe your hurdle is, well, I want to start my business before I do this. And it's hard for me to do that. Starting a business is difficult, and that's true. So what are those things? Write down those challenges that are in your way. Okay. Write down the challenges that are in your way that are keeping you from achieving your goals. Write down the things that are the obstacles. And I'm just going to invite you to this. I'm going to suggest a book for you. There's a book that is called The Obstacle is the Way. And what we find is that in any kind of a large scale innovation that has happened has been when people have seen a problem and they have taken it on head on. When we try to skirt around a problem, then innovation doesn't happen the same way. If you had talked to Ford, Henry Ford, before he started Ford Motor Company and built a car, his one of the famous quotes that I love this. He said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said they wanted a faster horse. And so again, the question that we're asking is not a good question. Instead of thinking, well, I want a faster horse, they could have said, I want an airplane that's going to fly me all the way across the country. I want something that will fly me across the country and land me 2,000 miles away in just a few hours. That would have been one of the most ridiculous dreams that you could ever have just 100 years ago. But today it's a reality. Today it happens all the time. And so that obstacle that you're facing in, I want you to lean into it, and I want you to see what you can do and how you can push through it. Okay, so number one, what's your goal? Number two, what's the obstacle that's keeping you from achieving your goal? And then number three, I'm going to ask you this. What kind of support would you love? Okay, what kind of support would you love? Anytime, if you want that growth and innovation to happen in your life, then I'm going to throw it out there that there are people that have done what you're trying to do. They've already done it. They've experienced it. They've gone through those challenges. They've pushed through those obstacles in almost every instance. I mean, if you're Elon Musk trying to, excuse me, well, actually, that's a great example. Elon Musk is trying to build an electric car, but it wasn't his idea. He wasn't the first one to come up with it. He's the one you've heard of, but he's not the first one. There's almost always a precursor that you can look back to gain wisdom and insight. Now, part of the blessing of this digital world that we live in right now is that those people that we are looking to, that we're trying to glean and gain that insight and wisdom from, are right in front of you. YouTube is a tremendous teacher. YouTube is a tremendous teacher. It is an amazing platform that you can go and you can learn from people who have done it before. I remember trying to learn a software, not knowing where to go, and just I spent hours on YouTube, and it helped me to learn that software forward and backwards. And anytime I had a question, where would I go? Did I go to the user manual? No, I went to YouTube to figure out what people had done and to find somebody that had done a tutorial on it. So I'm going to suggest to you that there's information out there that you can find virtually that is tremendous opportunity for you to fast track yourself to success. Great way to fast track yourself to success. But then at the same time that I was going to YouTube to try to search out and find these different answers to my questions, there were some things that just weren't in there. And I knew it was a simple thing that was easy to do, but it was just hard for me to figure it out on my own. It was a trial and error. And when I went onto YouTube to try to find these things, I couldn't very easily find those right answers. But I had a friend that I could call. And I could be like, Brett, I've got a question about Photoshop, man. How do I do this? And he'd be like, it's easy. You just do this, just push this button and this and click here. And sure enough, there it was. 45 seconds later, I had the answer that I was looking for. Now, here's the thing. It did not take Brett 45 seconds to learn how to do that. But Brett has been using Photoshop for years. And because of that, he has incredible knowledge in how to use Photoshop. And so when I look at where you are today, what I want to tell you is that there's somebody out there that has walked your path and can help you and can answer the questions that you've got. Now, sometimes it's a friend that is just going to be so happy to do it for you. Other times it's a person that has a business where they walk people through the things that you're trying to figure out. And that is where you have to take a step back and look at the financial investment and whether that is worth it. To think to yourself, I can spend 6 months studying Photoshop to figure out how to use it, or I can go onto YouTube and get from point A to point L, but I don't want to just get to point L, I want to get to point Z. And that's where having a mentor who will hold you accountable and can kind of coach you through this process is going to be incredibly beneficial, not just for the time savings, but for the cost savings as well. There are, ultimately, when you look at it, time is money. It is the only non-renewable resource that you can reach out to. You can buy electricity, you can buy gas, you can buy knowledge and understanding. You cannot purchase time. There's no amount of money that will buy it for you. And so when you look at, when you start to work through this process of going from your point A to your point Z, I want you to think about what are some things that you can do to fast track that and to move you forward from here to there. That's really going to be a big deal. That's really going to be a vital thing for you to consider. And I want you to be sure that you are, that you're doing all the things that you need to get you from here to there. Okay. And so when I talk to people about this idea of hiring me to help them get an RV, a great question that I just got asked today was, so what do? Do you go out and find an RV for them? And the short answer to that is no. I will not go pick the RV out for you. But one of the things that I'll do is I'll help you, as I get to know your family, I'll help you know what it is that your family wants and desires, what your goals are, and then how can I help you achieve your goals, and what is an RV going to do that's going to help you to achieve those goals. If your goal is to go spend a month at Yellowstone National Park, there's some things you might want to know about before you get there. And good news, I've been in Yellowstone. I can help you walk through that process. I might be able to give you some advice about RVs that'll be great in there and not. But regardless of the campground, there are certain things that are restrictions at state and national parks that are not restrictions in other places. And so knowing whether you want to go to a national park or just do a big RV park is going to make a difference in the kind of RV that you might want to look at. So the little things that just the fact that we've done this for 3 years is going to help you in your process to save you time and money, because the most expensive mistake that you can get is to buy the wrong RV. That's going to be the most expensive mistake that you can make. So in whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, having some of that knowledge that's going to help you make those decisions. If you want to start your own company, then finding a business coach that can help walk you through that process is going to save you time, resources, money, keep you from wasting your money on things that aren't going to work. It's going to keep you from wasting money on things that don't help move you in the right direction. And it's going to make you more effective all across the board. So finding somebody to help walk you through that process. What are some of the resources, the support that you would love in this? So I want you to think through all that stuff. Now, here's a bonus question I want you to think about. Okay. With all the stuff going on in the world right now, is traveling in an RV a stupid idea? Let's be honest. Is traveling in an RV a stupid idea right now? And I'm just going to suggest to you that there's never been a better time to be in an RV. If you are nervous about walking into a hotel room and feeling like you have to clean off every surface of everything, the doorknobs, the handles, the light switches, the telephone, the remote control to the TV, you don't have to do that in your RV because it's yours. It's your RV. You've cleaned it. You haven't got other people that have been walking around sitting on your toilet seat. Have they been naked on your couch? Let's face the facts, probably. Okay, but in your RV, not the case. In a hotel room, I can't vouch for that. You're on your own on that one. So what are the things that in your RV is gonna benefit you? In this world today, it has never been better. Flights are getting more expensive, and it's harder to get on an airline these days. The travel time is going up if you're going through the airport. Just the magnitude of restrictions is going to be ever growing. That's not the case in an RV. In an RV, you can just go and do something and sit and be somewhere of your choosing with the restrictions that you put on yourself. And so there's never been a better time to get an RV. You've never been more mobile. Your school has never been more mobile. Your job has never been more mobile. And this is the best time that you could possibly have imagined or hoped for. So there are tiny things, tiny little secrets that can help you along that process. So what are the things that are blocking you? What are the things that are keeping you from going and doing the stuff that you want to do? I hope that today, as you think about 3 things, right? 3 things. 1, what is your goal ultimately? Number 2, what are the things that are keeping you from the goal? What are the obstacles? And then number 3, what support would you love in the way of helping you to accomplish and achieve those goals? Those are the things that I want you to think through. And I hope as you do that you start to realize there's nothing stopping me anymore. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do it. Hey, thanks for joining me today.